Okay. You know, when you set a schedule for yourself, you're doing great, and then you find out that someone else made appointments for you like 15 minutes before your scheduled stuff. That's been my day.
That's gonna hurt your viewership numbers.
I don't know. I think they'll like me. They'll appreciate that I at least gave them a heads up. I would think. We got 12 here now, so that's good. Could be worse. Could be none. We can. All right, folks. Welcome to SEO This Week, episode 109. As most often is the case, I'm joined by Ted. Hey, Ted, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
I am doing spectacular. Busy news week. There's some good information being put out, and a couple examples of bad information too. To highlight, most of the stuff that I got this week is like announcements or just like some Google tips and stuff. So I think that'll be helpful. And then we're looking at some types of SEO. You know how us SEOs are good about creating new names and algorithm acronyms for things, you know.
Well, yeah, you know, we have lots of different kinds of SEO. The one new one I heard this week that's picking up in the conference circuit is NARC SEO.
NARC SEO.
Where enterprise SEOs use the primary strategy of NARC on the competition.
Oh, that never happens. People don't have to.
Yeah, it's another example of Google loving SEOs so much that they're forcing SEOs to cannibalize each other.
Yeah. Well, is it forcing, or is it just kind of playing upon that theory? If you can't beat them, report them, and hopefully
Google sets the rules, so they make this this environment, this culture of penalties, and if you can't get ahead because Google doesn't want to be transparent about anything or fairly execute the rules, then your only thing left is to go after each other.
Yeah.
And, I hate it. I know it's a tinfoil hat thing, but it doesn't have to be that way. It always kills me that this is the world view that Google chooses to create.
I'm all for competition. I just think, the right type of competition, like you and me going head to head for SEO. If we're both doing whatever method we're doing, if you kick my butt, you kick my butt. But the second that I got to go to the level of, let me go report Ted to Google because I can't beat him, then, They may be calling it NARC SEO, but I call it bitch SEO. So
I think we're just going to have to agree on this.
Got to keep Ted PG-13. That way he doesn't get in the habit, turn his shows into R-rated versions. All right, so here are the articles for this week. I just wanted to point out that if you guys are in the chat and you want to join the conversation, you're more than welcome to. I put the link to actually come in and join. However, if you are going to join and you just run out of things to say or you don't have anything to say, and you notice the panel gets full, just kind of then leave so someone else can pop in and ask questions if they want to. Again, feel free to do it. It's there for you. The link is in the chat. I'll start doing that more often just so I can get better audience participation from you guys, because I appreciate it, and I'm sure Ted appreciates it too. As always, the posts, and you can find all the links, are on the website right here. This is the video. You can actually watch this show on the website if you wanted to, and just click down as you go, if you are so inclined. I still have not gotten all the audio files up yet, but that will take place. I swear to Jeebus that I will get those stupid things up. It just takes a lot of time because you got to clean up some of the messes that I made, some of the audio, etc. Because podcasts, it's all about audio and having that clear. And I'm still learning all that madness. So that's the way it is. And since SEO this week doesn't pay any money, I got to do it myself. But it's a good learning process. So we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to start kind of off kilter with the post here with this one. Is FTC brings first case challenging fake paid reviews on an independent retail website. It sounds great. And what this article was handed around was FTC is going after fake reviews. Your fake reviews are going to get you in trouble. Now, I don't know if you choose to use fake reviews or not. Who the hell am I to judge if your competition's doing it and then you got to do it too, or you have one bad review because some guy woke up on the wrong side of the bed and you need to bury that with 5 other good reviews, then, do your thing. But this is being hung out as all fake reviews are bad and the FTC is going to go after you.
Yeah, the interesting thing about this debate is the cherry picking of the law that happens. And I don't have any dogs in the fight about the fake review thing. I think it's a little bit heavy-handed since it primarily targets, a lot of smaller businesses who just can't compete, like, little tour companies and stuff like that. But the other problem with this is the FTC won't fairly enforce protection of your trademark. So if you trademark your brand name, the FTC and the courts have no desire to protect that for you, and Google can sell your brand to competitors, which compels you to pay to advertise on your brand so you can rank higher than the others. So why on earth is the FTC not protecting the small businesses and protecting trademarks fairly? Google honors Geico's and Sears and Microsoft's trademarks, but when it comes to your trademark and my trademark, they're like, screw you, pay us to be on top. And so I think this is one place where everybody on all sides of politics should have some outrage, because the FTC is not protecting small to mid-sized business.
Yeah, I completely agree. And one of the things I wanted to point out was that this thing was, they weren't so much going after the fake reviews as they were going after the content of the fake reviews. So if you look at it in what the FTC did to protect customers, this section right here, they're talking about that they bought reviews for the product on Amazon and paid for them, and then they wanted their stars in a certain way. But at the end of the day, what they were really pissed about was that the reviews were actually giving claims that you're not allowed to do in your advertising. So blocks body fat, for example, if you have to test all that stuff and you have to say that it's not been tested, etc. And they circumvented those rules. They didn't have it in their just product descriptions, etc. And it was all in their reviews, the reviews that they bought. So that's, to me, that's what really got this company in trouble, more so than having fake reviews in and of themselves. Now, this isn't the first time that a government agency has gone after fake reviews. In New York City, the city's attorney's office went after some people for fake reviews as well. But those are really at scale, and they're kind of along the lines of this, is where you're making fake reviews and making claims, and those claims are circumventing the rules because supposedly these are real people saying this, when in fact they're not. So I would just caution, like an SEO or a business owner in general, if you got to use fake reviews to bury a bad thing because Google doesn't allow you to properly how to not reply, but filter, like bad employee gets fired and writes a whole bunch of bad reviews, and you can't do anything about it, and you report it, and Google takes 6 months to do it, and that's your business on the line there, then you're gonna have to use some fake reviews to bury it. It's just that's the nature of what we got going on. I would just say they just be a lot more careful. Don't use this as your primary review generating method, because that's going to get you in a lot of trouble.
Some of the micro worker platforms out there where you can hire people to do things like this, they'll actually ban you now if you do it, because they don't want to expose their micro workers to something that's potentially illegal.
Yeah.
So be careful if you're going to hire people to create reviews for you. It might get you banned from those platforms.
So the reviews for all of my stuff, I just give out. I gave out something at like a severely discounted price or for free in exchange for reviews. Technically, I guess I'm paying for them, but it's it's as close as the real review we're going to get. And they actually got the service that I offered in exchange for those reviews. So it wasn't like like I paid $25 and went out and paid Ted to make reviews for me. These people either bought or got my service in exchange for the review. So I don't think those are necessarily bad, and that's probably a good way to leverage what you're doing already to get reviews.
Yeah, a lot of what online retailers are doing, especially on third-party platforms, is they'll have their customer service staff buy the product through Amazon or whatever other platform, and then leave a review, and then cancel the order on the company side and refund the worker. So there's a lot of exploits like that are still out there, that if you're a company with a lot of deep pockets, you get to play those shenanigans. But if you're a little business, you don't necessarily get to.
Right. And I guess that still happens on the Amazon platform, even for little guy sellers. I've bought plenty of products and got a refund in exchange for a review on Amazon. I got a free product out of it. They got a review out of it, and it kind of helps them out. And I think it's just kind of the nature of mass market like we are, where you have to have things like that to set you apart. It just kind of generates that system to get them. Different than influencer marketing. You pay someone famous to talk about you. It's a review essentially.
Yeah, it's a system where money tends to win is the problem.
Yeah. Well, that's it on reviews. Let's see. 5 types of SEO you never heard of. Well, now it's 6 because we got NARC. This one's actually pretty good. It's a decent breakdown of some names that were made up: performance, Robinhood, database, mashup, and brand. I think, honestly, if you had to mark my stuff into a system, it would probably be performance and brand. Are the 2 things that I worry about. But if you look at these and they're broken down, I think that you'll find that you're actually doing a lot of this stuff and not giving it a name, which is okay. But this is also be, maybe you're doing a little bit of your sales stuff. You can make up some cute stuff to add to this thing. Like this Robinhood thing is basically going in and following your competitors around and ranking for all their crap. So I guess, steal from the rich and give to the poor is the philosophy. But this is a good post. I like this, and I like how they formatted the post and they provided a lot of detail in it. They made up some names, which is great, but this is all. It's got tactics in there that actually are useful for you too. So I would at least check this one out. There's some cool apps in here too that you can mess with. So I would check out some of the apps and stuff that he's linked to in this article as well. And like I said, I should write him and say, hey, you need to add number 6, NARC SEO. We'll coin Ted's name. Have you ever heard of Edge SEO, Ted?
Not by name. What is it?
Well, Dan Taylor, he's actually in a Slack group that I am. It's a mastermind. It's called Online Geniuses. Anyone can get into it, so it's not technically special, but you just apply for it. Anyway, he coined the term Edge SEO. And during a conference, he did there was like a contest between him and a bunch of other famous people. Eric Engel is one that comes off the top of my head. What he did is it's Edge SEO is essentially using like a Cloudflare workers to add stuff to a website to make changes to get it to serve faster, etc. It's basically at the roundabout way of what Edge SEO is. And this is I actually been talking to him a lot, and I'm going to get him on the SEO this week so we can talk some more about this. But the practical use of this is if you get sites or clients that you can't access the servers, put it on Cloudflare, use Cloudflare workers to do stuff to the website versus messing around with it on the server level. So when it's served up through Cloudflare, you get the changes that you made versus what's on that server. It's actually really good way to get, and it's a good way to get around some CMSs that are just a pain in the ass when you're adding stuff like schema, etc. So
that strikes me as a great way to handle Shopify SEO.
Exactly.
But it should terrify the heck out of web development teams. That edge injection stuff is load-bearing JavaScript, and JavaScript is not intended to be load-bearing. So the amount of traffic you pipe through that will matter.
Yeah. And he's got some different approaches to it. The Cloudflare workers example is just so that happened to be the last one I was talking about, but there's other ways to do it. Again, Dan is he's really smart, and it's not anything that you guys have probably never heard of before, or in a way to apply thing like Google Tag Manager could essentially be Edge SEO if you want to think about it that way, just using tags from a third-party service.
Yeah, the most flagrant, awful way to do it is to develop your website using Optimizely tests, which is another way not to do web architecture.
Okay, so check this out. I think you're going to like it. You're going to learn a lot about it. Again, I want to have Dan on here, so if you guys come up with some questions for Dan, leave them in my comments section or whatever, or just watch for when I have him scheduled, so you can come and ask him. He's a pretty smart dude. He's fun. He's not like one of those guru type of guys. He's just handing out some really good information. They've also made a tool to implement this a little bit better. So you go into his tool, do the changes you want, and then that tool goes to Cloud Workers and does all the setup crap for you. If you're not a technical nerd or not familiar with Cloud Workers. So
yeah, this is either the coolest thing you're presenting this week or it's the worst idea. Not sure which yet.
I guess it depends on your luck. If you're new to learning, then you're going to break some shit with this thing. But if you're good with it, then you're going to be good off. So I like this. I like talking to Dan. So again, just take some time to watch that. It's a good one. Here you go. We're going with that fake reviews thing. Is how to report Google My Business spam. It's that stupid reporting tool. I wanted to bring this up. This came out last week, but what they're doing is Ted can be pissed at me because I'm outranking him in maps. And let's say my business is Ted Killer 101, and we're trying to rank for Ted Killer. Ted can go use this form and report me. And I know, and I've heard of people who have used it and gotten GMBs taken down within a matter of minutes, which is pretty damn responsive from any Google thing, if you know what I mean. And I think that this is, to me, it's a good idea, but I think the implementation is dicked up.
My fear is it's the beginning of the end, because the best exploits in SEO right now are these GMB local plays, and you see the gurus, and I know some of them are in chat. They could take a business from nowhere to top of page 1 in an hour with some of the exploits. I mean, they're amazing to see in action. And I think this is the first foray into trying to rein that in from Google's side.
Well, what I think is going to happen is that eventually Maps is going to be a paid to use platform. And they're just using it. They're trying to figure out how to do that while building its popularity and the reliance on it, and businesses' reliance on it, which is why they're letting a lot of stuff that is available now go, why those exploits are going and working. But pretty soon, I think Maps is going to be pay to play. completely. And so this is just, to me, this is just them using, like, when Google AdWords first started, it was affiliates that were using it, and that's how they built Google AdWords. This is kind of the same way. Now they built maps. They got a whole bunch of people using it. It's really popular. People know it works. And now let's find out other ways let's get the SEO community to rat on each other so we can find out what they're doing to get around our system so we can plug those holes. And the more we do that, the more we find, now we can charge more money for it, for using it. So that's just me. That's my tinfoil hat. It's black, but it's tinfoil. Let's see. Next one is Google shares guidance on pagination. If you guys don't know, previous next post, page 1, page 2, page 3. I guess the standard practices, page 2, 3, 4. We'll all have canonicals to page 1. And the goal is that when search results, the primary goal is when search results go into your page 2, page 3, or 4, you want them to actually deliver the visitor to page 1. So they have to read the entire thing, go through the entire thing. John Mueller has made a suggestion that you actually don't need to worry about the canonicals on those other ones, and you can no index it if you want to do it that way, or just use next previous inside of your head and leave the canonical out, and Google will looks at that next previous to start the chain, and it'll actually show your first page by default. So that's actually pretty cool.
Well, here's the problem from the online retail side is that you have a product, let's say it's Just Dance for Xbox, and somebody searches for it. You have a product page and you have where it appears in a category, a gaming category for it. If you canonicalize to page 1 and send them to page 1, the person who searches for Just Dance Xbox is going to go to a page that doesn't have it on it. So in online retail, I always wanted to show them the page 3 of the category that had the thing that they were searching for. So I still kind of disagree with what they're recommending here. I think both canonicalizing is bad, as well as their idea of no index page 2+. I think both of those are terrible ideas for online retail.
I think what he was trying to address is someone has said that their page 2 was the one that was showing up for their keyword, and the person wasn't getting automatically sent to the beginning of their great funnel or whatever, and they were looking for ways to get around that. To me, it doesn't make any sense. If I'm writing, let's say this is an article and I put 1,000 words on 17 pages, then I'm going to use the next premium, and I don't care if you land in the middle or not. I have, you know what I mean?
Yeah. If that's the thing you're looking for, you should.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess this is really just a choice, but that's how Google's handling it. That's how they're looking at the canonical, if they're even honoring it at all, and just the recommended best practices. So basically, just don't, you can not use it if it's an article series like this guy says. Just kind of take it for what it's worth. To me, I just use next previous or page numbers and just let it do its thing. I want to save this one for last because Ted doesn't like this one. Another one is the algorithm updates. There's been a bunch of them. There was actually one on March 1st, and supposedly yesterday, another one rolled out that are just tickling things. I can tell you that I saw a lot of red in my trackers, but I was like from position 1 to position 2 kind of thing. Nothing harsh. So it was, if whatever it was pretty subtle.
The thing that we're seeing, and SEO Fight Club's going to get into this tomorrow. We're going to get into some of the new field observations that are coming out that are quite startling. One of the things is it kind of looks like since the beginning of the year, Google has been targeting single variable testers maybe. And it looks like they're trying to make our lives more difficult. And so we're going to look at some of that data tomorrow and see if we can't hash out what might be going on.
Interesting. I didn't think we were that dangerous, honestly.
Oh, I think Google thinks we're like enemy number one.
Yeah.
Because we're the people that are reverse engineering what they do.
Yeah. I'll believe it when they kill my site completely.
They did it to Kyle.
That's true. Let me shift this around because Google. This is actually a good video series. I don't know if you guys are messing around with SEO on JavaScript sites. React. Or if you just want to get into it and kind of learn more and increase your tool set. This series, you have to get across this guy's German accent with the blonde/purple hair. I don't know if Ted showed up like that, I'd probably leave the show.
Well, I see a headline like this, and I've spoken with Roman from the NFG crowd, and I am thinking about doing a show about the Google time exploit, because when you're talking about JavaScript in Google, it's like fundamental. And I'd be willing to bet that these guys don't quite hit the mark on that. But I don't know. I think we'll probably have to talk about it at some point.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, we had this discussion in private, and I think it would actually be a good topic. I would like to leverage it. But like you said, it can be leveraged for bad, and it's a little bit technical to set up. So you got to kind of know how to do it too. So since it can be leveraged from bad, we probably won't talk about that part, but just, what is the time exploit, and then you guys figure it out for yourself. As a build up to that, like I said, take advantage of this guy's teachings. Again, get around to the accent and stuff. Just learn a little bit about JavaScript. Buy yourself a JavaScript book. That's what I did, just to play with some, features of it, etc. I'm learning Java because Ted is a genius and coded something for me that I was fighting with for like 3 weeks, and he did it in like an hour using Java, and now I need to know how to edit it, etc. So I'm learning Java. It kind of extends into this JavaScript stuff, and it's really cool. So get in on that. The videos are actually pretty short too, so if you speed them up, it's a lot more funny, especially if you're drinking rum at the same time.
Yeah, for the record, Java and JavaScript, two totally different things.
Yeah,
entirely.
Don't burst my bubble, Tim. Don't burst my bubble. I told myself they're close enough to make me understand, but influencer marketing. We kind of get on topic with that with the reviews. Excuse me for a second. I like this post as one of the rare. It's selling a service. You can get into this tribe thing. Reach out to influencers, etc. I have not tried the service myself, but it is interesting, and I know there's other platforms that are the same way. If you have your own following, you can go sign up to be an influencer, or if you want to get influencers to do it. But what they're talking about mainly in this article, and the key point is, we tend to go after influencers with that big, huge audience. And they're saying don't go after them, save your money and go after a bunch of people with small audiences, because the small audiences are more, and Jordan talking about sprinkles threw me off, likely to engage with you. And I'll go to they got a cool, there you go. Look at the engagement rate. So, this nano, obviously, but this is the micro. This is the range of suggestion that you be in. And you can get more engagement and more ROI from your influencer marketing, which I thought was really cool. And then they go into a plan on how to leverage it, etc., and offer a tool. And here's some of the things that you can, look at as part of it, and how to find influencers, etc. But again, it's a service that does it for you. So why do you need BuzzSumo? You just go out and find people versus begging. They already announced themselves that they want to be influencers. So try this service or any other service if you want to. Just save yourself a little bit of time. Takeaway here is going after those nanos for the average engagement, just like higher, and save yourself some money, and probably get a better reach than trying to reach out to one of these people.
Yeah,
unless you can get like Justin Bieber or whatever, whoever you're into.
Well, and this article is, how do you find influencers to help you with marketing? If you want to become an influencer, then, my favorite approach is just spend a little bit of time each day helping people. So, if you want to find influencers to work for, this article looks like it's geared towards that. But if you want to become an influencer, I just think you need to allocate time to helping people and letting people know you're there to help.
Yeah. Well, when I wanted to become an influencer, I just told everyone I knew Mike Pierce, and I thought it was cool. So, all right, let's see. Next one is a video. If you guys use Quora, I use Quora for some link building and some tough software that used to automate Quora for me, etc., just to get a little bit more exposure. He did a case study of how he got 650 leads in 1 month just doing it. The video's really short. Only 9 minutes, as you can see. So check it out. I think, and they did it's informal. It's not like a class. He's just kind of going through what he did. So check it out, and that will help you leverage Quora a little bit better. Comprehensive. Remember, I was talking all week on both the shows or all month is that Moz was finally releasing their new database. Well, it's out, Ted. And it's pretty interesting. I saw a lot of, as expected, DA drops across the board when they implemented the new links. And they talked about, just their methodology and what they're using now for DA and PA. It's too early. It's really too early to say correlation to ranking and whether it's even something to bother with. But still, it's good to know, especially if you're a Moz fan or you got your clients hooked on the DA equals rankings kind of thing. So, and increasing domain authority, etc., depending on your sales process. So check it out. I've never been a Moz fan just because I knew how easy it was to manipulate this.
Well,
which is another thing. Is it still easy to manipulate?
Moz, if you're watching, somebody shares this to you, let me integrate your API into Quora so that people can go and see how your values correlate for their search terms. And it's going to end up being one of the best promotional things ever, because if your values correlate with rank position, it's just going to go viral from there. People are going to say, look at these Moz values, you need to fix them. Yeah. So, work with your integrators. Let us integrate your APIs into our tools so that we can show off the power of your data.
Yeah, I'm going to start a campaign because I want to see it. I want to see Moz, Magenta's, Ahrefs side by side and see, what those numbers mean and the value of them and what kind of leverage for each of those. Like topical trust flow, I believe in that more than I believe in trust flow. URL or authority, URL rank now is more than domain rank, and now this DA and PA. How is it going to correlate? And can I leverage that a little bit better? There are ways to see all of those together, like SERPworks. You can see it all, but that's really manual. Being able to do that with Quora would be awesome, especially at scale. Doing your own set to see the trends or what Ted's doing. If he plugs those in there and everyone's sending them the factors, and we start seeing, that PA really matters. That might be something significant to know.
And not only that, it's really to their benefit to do it, because when SEOs use Quora, they say, whoa, I want off-page data, but I can't use my Moz account for it.
Yeah.
Then they're like, okay, well, I'll get an Ahrefs account. And then they're like, well, I don't need both. So, give your users the ability to stick with your platform. Let integrators integrate.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. All right, so there's that. It's out. This is pretty cool. If you guys are into structured data and leveraging it and learning about it, there's some great tips in here. The biggest one for me was the takeaway. You can check out all this other stuff, but really depending on your skill level, just scan through. For me, it was the graph. I'm one of those type of people that does it like this, open and close for each set, depending on where it'll allow me to make my schema, because I'm mixing, matching templates, et cetera, just because, to make it a little bit easier. And then they pointed out that you can just use this graph command and it kind of builds it all right up together. So that save yourself a little time. I like that. I think it's pretty cool. It might have to change some templates and stuff to leverage that. And then they pointed out a free JSON LD editor, which is also nice. I use Atom on my computer, but this one's online if you guys want to try it out. Atom for me just works better. I have used this one in particular, but if you don't know of one or you just don't want to get something like Atom or Sublime, etc., then this is just a good thing to have handy and copy paste right out of that into the structured data testing tool. And most of this stuff is marked towards ecom. And it's one thing that I do that I notice a lot of people don't do is adding the review body, actually what was said into your review schema. So that's a good thing to have in there as well, especially if you're playing on the wire between what is allowed and not allowed for the review schema. If you add that in there more often than not, they're going to leave you alone for those manual penalties. So I think that'd be really good.
And if you don't have reviews for aggregate rating, just use author rank instead.
Author rank, yep. Okay, this one is I'm not calling this guy out for making bad content because in my opinion, there's no such thing as bad content. It's just ones that you want to ignore and don't.
No, there's bad content.
Okay, so there's bad content. And his list of 20 SEO strategies that not work anymore is actually pretty interesting because if you're into testing, this will, just kind of help you out and see where your competition's saying. And, essentially this is a 20 things that you want to test. The number one, forcing keyword-centric titles. Basically, the argument is to have your target keywords in your title. You don't have to do that anymore. That's his number one bad strategy on his list. And you can go through a bunch of these and shake your head and wonder what the hell this dude was thinking. I'm pretty sure that he was drinking a lot of tequila when he made this. But, I found it. I'm sure a lot of other people have found it too. And this is a good thing that you see your competition is telling your potential client base, and you can go through here and figure it out. This is another good one, wasting your time to include images in your content that you shouldn't do it. And then he flips right around and says, well, but if you do it, you should use your alt tags because alt tags are really important. So I thought you would get a kick out of this one, Ted.
Yeah, this is test bait. This is the kind of thing that SIA would dive into and make a mockery of and show data to the contrary. So I like it as test bait, but in general, it looks like one of those articles that the author will grow to regret.
Yeah, I honestly, what I was thinking about doing is getting another test set from you, running all through all of these, doing a counter to every one of them, and then doing going back, looking at all the people that linked to this article, and saying, hey, look, here's my response. Can you give me links? That would be a good backlink thing. So.
Yeah, science link building.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see how that works. Because that's, to me, that's really controversial. And then when he started off with titles, it had me right there because I was like, holy hell, there's got to be some really dumb stuff in here now. If forcing keywords into your titles.
Well, I view it as a favor. Like he tells you right at the top of the article that you can hit the back button and skip this one.
Yeah. Oh, it was horrible. But it's like it's good test bait. So if you guys are looking, find out what your competition is doing. If they're putting out articles like this, go after them, and point out how they're wrong, and then use their links that are, if it ranked, especially go through their links and reach out to those people and do a counter argument for this. And I think you're going to get a lot of good things. Yeah, tequila test bait, like Jerm said. Definitely what that is. All right, that's the articles. Again, I had a lot of them. I went through a little over 200 articles this month or this week. It was a pain in the ass because it was filled with a lot of those tips and stuff from Google. I don't know if I wanted to keep doing that, but I think it was good, especially if we don't have a guest speaker on to go through that many. So it was pretty interesting. At this time, I'd like to open it up to questions. We got 15 more minutes for sure. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask now. I'll scroll through. And while we do that, Ted, if you talk about what we're doing tomorrow for Fight Club.
Well, somebody just asked for a hint about the JavaScript time exploit. And I won't tell you what it is or how it works yet because I haven't decided if I'm going to do it. But I'll tell you about the test that led to its discovery. We asked the question, what happens if the keyword a page is tuned for changes once per second? Which one gets indexed? And we ran it in 3 different locations around the world, and they all came up with the same answer. The keyword that's showing at time equals 20 seconds. Google knows about 200 trillion URLs. They can't possibly be waiting 20 seconds for all those URLs. There isn't enough time in Google's existence to have done that. So how are they waiting 20 seconds?
My turn. So when Ted was talking about this, I think, Ted, you've known about this exploit, what, like 6 to 8 months now? And the first time you mentioned it in our little private group, it was really technical. How long did it take to figure out the technical side of it? When you gave it to Roman, because you obviously found it, so you knew exactly where to go. But when you gave it to Roman and then he figured it out and he said, okay.
Well, doing these experiments was the most fun thing ever. And it only took us 1 to 2 days to realize what was going on and to figure out, the constants that were in play about what was going on. It then took, about 6 weeks to really understand the full implications of what Google was doing and how that could be leveraged into a whole new kind of cloaking that affects SEO in very bizarre ways. The actual exploit itself is a one-liner. It's super simple, but you have to discover it on your own for right now.
It's no fair. All right, so I don't see any questions. I don't want to leave it at that though. So let's talk about one more thing. It's my favorite tool. I don't know how much more I could talk about Quora or how much more I can talk about Pop, but I swear to Jeebus, every day I get asked, am I using Quora? Am I using Pop? And if you don't know, yes, I am. And I think it's probably those two is Pop, basic on-page optimization. Get a camera. Pop, basic on-page optimization, building my foundations. Quora, it's time to get serious. That's how I look at those two tools, and they're not for the same things, and they should be used in conjunction with each other. And I just don't get how people are comparing them or finding any comparison between the two. They use the same terminology on purpose. Because both creators came from and are working and talking together. So that just kind of happened naturally. But in my opinion, I don't think one can be used. You can use Pop without Quora, and you can rank pages with just Pop. You can do it in easy or semi-medium, depending on your skill level, etc. You can just use Pop and be okay. But if you really want to get down and dirty, you want to go after the guerrilla markets, then you need to get to leverage Quora. And it's more than just a per page tool. So with that being said, Ted, you just launched the final version of 4.x for Quora, and now 5.0 is coming up. What are you planning on for the future in 5.0 that we can all look forward to?
Well, in version 5, we're focusing on workflow. So the UI is going to change dramatically in very cool ways. Additionally, we're adding in the concept of settings profiles, so you can hot swap complete setting configurations very quickly and easily, probably from a drop-down menu of named profiles.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be very cool. And what this will allow us to do is extend the next 5-10 years of factor development so that we can instantly pull in 1,000+ factors, and then you can hot swap based on the context you need, what factors you want to use and what reports you want created. Because what we're finding, the next level of scalability is how do we handle a scenario where there are 5,000 possible factors and dozens of different, very detailed reports at your disposal. You'll need to be able to pick and choose because there simply won't be the system resources. And it also comes down to, why did I choose to do Quora as desktop software and not as a cloud application? Well, the reason is that CPU cost. It's why the copycats out there are limited by the number of factors they can do and limiting the number of keywords you can do. I won't have the scalability limitation that they have. And when they start to scale, you'll see they'll end up converting it into more cost to you to make it scale. And so, those are architecture choices, and I'm going to start leveraging my architecture choices to bring you more firepower.
Yeah, and to me, I think desktop is just fine. I'm at the point now where I want to do more with Quora, and you're using the automator that I have built, and in order to do that, I got to buy another computer, which isn't a good excuse to buy another computer. So, so that works out for me. Plus, everything's there, and you can play with it, and you can push buttons and see what happens. And I think that's pretty exciting too. One question from Peter Mark came in is, what do you guys recommend I do with a DA 80+ domain name? The domain does not have any keyword terms in it. Should I try to rank some articles? He'd hate to do a 301 or a PBN. In my opinion, again, DA is manipulated, so I look at the other metrics of that if they're all equally as high. And it's a brand, and it's in a market that can make a lot of money. And Mike Pierce he said the same thing in the comments, is if it's a good brand and you can turn it into money, make it a money site. And it can be a money site and it can be a PBN at the same time, using proper interlinking and stuff too, depending on where you want to link to, especially if you have other markets in there. So, I'm sure I'm not sure if Mike still does it, but I know I do. And I know Ted does, is if you're going to build a PBN, it's going to be a money site anyway, because you want your PBN to pay for itself. So why not leverage that power right off the bat? If you have zero interest in creating another money site and doing that, then I would do the 301, or I would turn it into a PBN where you can at least do something to get it to pay for itself, to make it a little bit easier to maintain. And my guess is if it's that high, you probably paid a lot of money for it. So you want to get that ROI for that investment you made as well. Ted, you got any insight on that?
No, I think you said it perfectly.
Okay. Perfect. And that was the only question I had. Let's see, just one comment. It's probably a good one, is getting software like Quora, and you're busy and you have to worry about learning curves, etc. I think I run into that too, not just with Quora. It's pretty much any software or service that I buy. I'll buy it and then go back into it like 2 or 3 months later and then learn it. Or I buy it, learn it, I have to go off and do something else because I'm so busy, and then I have to relearn it. A perfect example of that is the software that I use to run SEO this week and the green screen stuff. It's not. I didn't get like OBS. I have OBS, but I'm using Wirecast. And Wirecast is a lot more technical, and when you stop using stuff like that, it hurts your skills. And Quora is the same way. What I found with Quora, though, is if you're a learner of SEO and you like learning things and you found things, that's where a tool like Quora helps you out a little bit more, just beyond the ranking increases. You get an insight into what Ted's thinking and creating those factors, and then you have to learn what that factor is and how Quora is coming up with it. And then you have to play with it more. So that's, to me, that's what Quora is all about. And Simon, yeah, here you go. I'm going to delete that. Now it's black. It's green screen, clown. Let's see. I like to test drive the results of a Quora report. Shane, I sell Quora reports, but if you just want to test it out, give it Ted, email him, and he'll make you a report. He's never shied on doing that for people. So you got one word, one site, reach out to him, and he'll run it for you. He likes doing that kind of stuff. So check it out. And one final setting on Quora. I don't want to be a Quora pitch fest, but Quora is like a metal detector. It tells you where to dig for the nuggets, that's really well put. So, all right, that looks like that's it. If you guys don't have any more questions, we're going to call it a day. Again, thank you guys for your patience. Normally we are at 11, but my son was kind enough to make an appointment for himself, and I had to drive him to it. And he told me like 15 minutes before the show was supposed to start. So I had to reschedule. Actually, it was 30 minutes, so we'll give him a little bit of credit. But life happens, whatever. And thank you guys. Thank you, Ted, for coming on. I will see all of you tomorrow, SEO Fight Club. Don't miss it.
Now, Clint,
yep.
You need to go to Amazon and find a green hat. So that way you could swap out what your hat style is.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would bug the hell out of Oh, that would be awesome. All right, I'm going to do it. All right, guys. Thanks again, and see you next week on SEO This Week. Don't forget tomorrow, SEO Fight Club.